Welcome back to the Girl Be Self-ish podcast. I am your host, Chanel McCord, CEO and Clinical Director of Oasis Wellness Group, conference host, speaker, entrepreneur, all of the good things, author, all of those things. And I'm so excited to be back with you. As you guys know, the Girl Be Self-ish podcast started from a book project that I've been working on with 21 amazing authors who have amazing stories of self-care, not just amazing authors. Let me say this, of amazing women authors. I just want to put that out there, of amazing women authors who have amazing stories of self-care. And so today is no different. I have another amazing author who is a part of the anthology. She's not just an author though. She is my ECM sisters. We'll let you know, guys, know what that means later. And one of my sisters in the business, a colleague of mine. I am so excited to bring to you Dr. Zerri, better known as Dr. Z. Hey, Dr. Z.
Well, hello. Thank
How
you
are
for the intro.
you?
I'm out here doing my thing, living life, feeling all the energy of the seasons and what's coming for us.
Amen. Listen, spring is coming. It's a little cold around here. But spring is coming. So I feel you. I'm excited for more sunshine. But listen, introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about you, what you do, your specialties, all of that good stuff.
I'm going to do myself a whole solid because I forget who I am and how dope I am. So I'm gonna use a little snippet of a note to see like, who am I again?
That's okay. Remind yourself who you are.
Right. Like, dang, she kind of fire. So my name is Dr. Z. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a trauma-informed yoga instructor. What else? I'm a femininity integrator, as well as a retired veteran, and currently the owner of a group therapeutic private practice, as well as a wellness company where I go out and share with people how to incorporate a holistic way of doing life through yoga, different healing modalities, and taking the psychodynamics of all the lovely years of training and life experiences into creating opportunities for greatness.
So as y'all can see, she's a busy woman. She's doing all the things. She's doing therapy. She's doing yoga. She's doing wellness. She's helping people to get their lives together. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you work exclusively with women or do you work with women and men?
Historically, I have always worked with both. Part of my direction or shift most recently, as I've been coming more into myself and getting really comfortable with being me, which is so funny to look back and see, like, if you had done this 5 or 10 years ago, who knows? But my focus has been to really help women more so far as the wellness company and being able to help this integration of femininity and being great because you're not doing it all on your own anymore. However, there's a couple of men or two here or there that are like, wait a minute. They're talking about some goodness over there. Let me jump in there and be a part of it too. So yes, you can come in, but I'm 100% talking to the women. So some of the words, some of the things are definitely geared towards helping women be amazing goddesses.
Awesome. Now let me ask you this, and because this is something I don't know, and I think I've been meaning to ask you this. How did you get from being a veteran to being a doctor?
So it started way back when my parents, did what they did, and then here I am. But to be fair, like I can't recall a time in my life where I haven't done multiple things simultaneously. So I like to say, like, I've lived simultaneous lives always. When I first jumped out of high school, like I went to school to be a cosmetologist and then was like, oh, I'm going to go straight into just Christian counseling only. And then was working at some companies and was like, you know what? I don't want to pay my rent. I'm going to go to the Army with my roommate. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we did. And when we came out, I still just held on to I need to help people. So whether it's making them look beautiful, whether it's any kind of way that was going to help. So I jumped back into finishing like counseling because I had already had my period of almost, I don't know, like a year or two of intentionally going to school at the at the church that I attended. They started a Christian college and I was like, I'm going.
Nice.
And I went. And I was feeling it, I'm getting everything fed. My soul was getting right. And then I went to the
Mhm.
army, I opened it up to some other things and then came back and was like, let's go ahead and finish this off. And in the
Love
midst of that, there was a moment where I was like, or I could teach math or be a special education teacher. And the way my attention span is set up,
it. Imagine that.
I'm gonna need 1 hour sessions, please and thank you. And then that's where it went. And the doctor part,
Woo.
all about my last name is Gross. What you will do is put some respect on my name. That the degree was about you're going to respect that I know what I know, not
I love it.
for any type of money. I was just like, I just want to be called doctor, doctor, whatever you want, but doctor.
And you know what? I'm not even mad at it. I hear people say all the time, there's this conversation all the time about, why do you get a doctorate and da 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 da. And listen, here's the reality. If I get my doctorates just because I want to be called doctor, like, so what? Because guess what? I still put in the work and earned it. Like, it's not like somebody just handed you an honorary.
Oh, they
That's
didn't hand me not one itsy bit of it. I earned every single
come on.
dollar bill that I'm paying back for that thing. Could have
Okay,
bought
let's
two
talk about the
houses.
dollar bills because there's some dollar bills associated with it. Earned, honey. Earned degree. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And like you said, I love the transparency of that. I love the transparency of that because if you think about it, that is a self-care thing. Like, this is something I want for myself. And I know that I want to be called doctor. So I'm going to go get this doctorate so that you could put some respect on my name and call me doctor. That's a form of self-care if you ask me. That's just my opinion, but that's a form of self-care. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So
To
you're a
be
busy
fair, when
woman.
I did actually do that, it was so I am a mother of two daughters. So I have an adult daughter and a
Mhm.
teenager who's taller than me and swears she's an adult. So that's a whole nother thing. But I started my doctorate degree and I almost might not have done it, except I had just had my youngest daughter. She was like 2 months old.
Mhm.
And I went to the interview and I didn't have a babysitter. I didn't have nobody to keep her. And the other daughter was in school. And I was like, I'm not leaving her with an infant. She's like 7, I think, at the time.
Right. Right.
So I go to the interview and they're like, why do you want to do a doctor? I was like, because, like, finish my master's. I've been working with the people, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, but how are you going to do that? You have a infant literally in front of you right this minute. And I was like, well, now I'm doing it to make sure that they understand that they have never been and will never be a reason that I could not and cannot accomplish anything
This
in
is
life.
so good. It's so good.
Children are who they are, but my
Yeah.
life didn't end because I became a mother,
I
which was a
love
huge talk
girl.
about self-care. I don't
You
know
just
why.
said a whole mouthful. Moms out there, if you are a mom, I hope you heard every word that she just said. One, I heard you say, I got to do this because I'm not going to allow my children to feel like they're a hindrance to anything that I want to do. And they're here, they're a blessing to me. I love them and I can still move forward. And then, as not just a mom, but I'm a whole woman, I'm a whole person, I'm a whole individual, and I still have dreams and goals, and I'm gonna go out there and get them. I hope there's a mom who's listening to that right now, because it's one of the number one issues that we hear all the time with mothers, with single mothers, even mothers who are married. Like, let's just be honest, there's this whole issue where it's like, I don't have the time, I can't do the things, I can't chase my dreams, and I don't know who I am. So I love, while you were raising your daughters, you continue to be you. Because some people wait until, okay, once my children are good and grown, then I'll get to me. But what you're saying is, I'm gonna get to me now and I'm gonna still raise them. And I love that.
I never actually believed that I wasn't supposed to be. So I could say, to speak to the parenting that I got, and I'm sure some may recognize that some home training might have been missed on
Right.
my behalf, and I'm okay with it now, but I never thought that I was supposed to give up my life because I had children. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like when people would say, I'm like, that's really interesting that you think that way. But it kind of even maybe speaks to I have to do this because my parents want me to do it. I never felt that way. I was like, what do you mean? Like, your
Mm.
parents are going to feel some type of way? Like, Why are they in your business? Well, they,
Right.
whatever it was, that when I chose to do whatever I do, I definitely look at it like, okay, I am a mom. I'm a woman at different points in times. Like, I've been someone's fiance, I've been
Mm-hmm.
someone's friend, I've been a daughter, like all these
Mm-hmm.
different roles. And as I keep evolving and learning more and more about me, part of this process has looked like, how am I going to take care of myself to be that best version of whatever role I'm showing up as
Come
when I'm
on.
showing up?
Yeah.
And part of it
Yeah.
means I can't have limitations on what that looks like. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to start stripping those away and be
Yeah.
intentional about it to try to cause the least amount of harm possible to the rest of the world that's involved. But
I
there's
love
no
that.
reason I can't do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And especially when you said to cause the least amount of harm possible to the world around me. That is so powerful. It's powerful insight, but it's such a powerful statement because we don't realize, right? Oftentimes when we talk about trauma, we talk about issues and we talk about all the things, we talking about everybody else and what they do to me. And we
Mhm.
don't take enough time to how the Lord has caused us to walk into a trauma identity, and then what damage and trauma we're doing to the world around us. Because the reality is, if you don't heal it, if you don't fix it, you will repeat the cycle, right? Whether it's distrust, whether it's whatever, whether it's your attitude, whether it's getting in a relationship and making this new person who did absolutely nothing to you pay for the sins of the people before, So I love that you even acknowledge that, because as we're talking about self-care, that is major to self-care, making sure that I'm healing my quote unquote demons, that I'm healing the things that are happening inside of me. As they say, it's not your fault what happened to you, but it's 100% your responsibility to make sure that you heal you, right? And so to even hear you say that is a breath of fresh air, because we don't hear enough people say that.
Oh, I'm a problem. I'm a whole problem over here. I'm gonna always be a whole problem. If somebody wants to learn how to be a better person, come engage me. I help you unknowingly and on purpose. But with
Yes,
that being
ma'am.
said, I'm fully aware that I have that capacity and I have that level of
Mhm,
impact and intensity and awareness of it
mhm.
that I don't engage a lot of people anymore, and that I have gotten significantly more comfortable with the narrowing of my circle, of the recognizing that just because I want to help and be there so bad and like show up
Mhm.
and have all these great things to offer, I cannot, because the people there may not be able to receive it. And in
Mhm.
less mature versions of myself, I did not have the capacity to be able to handle that. So my
Yeah.
response is, those folks absolutely can tell you some stories like, yeah, she is extremely loving, but the other side, the fire, that whole, the smoke,
Mhm. Mhm.
ooh,
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
less mature, younger version of me. I am aware that I have hurt people unnecessarily because I didn't know
Mhm.
myself, because I didn't give myself time to explore, do I even want to do this, or am I doing this because someone else said I'm supposed to, or this is
Wow.
the right way to do it? And
Wow.
then I did it, and then I'm mad, and because someone caught me on the wrong day,
Mhm.
now I just either, quit a job, hurt somebody's feelings, like to who knows what level, or ended a relationship that
Come on.
maybe we needed to end anyways, but it definitely could have been a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. You is teaching right now. Like, I should really be have a notebook and a paper. You are saying so many things. Like, this by itself is a whole topic by itself.
So
I'm
maybe
the
when I write
problem.
another book,
Listen, we're gonna have to do another podcast interview, and the subject is gonna be I'm the problem. That's not like, and we're just gonna talk about how we are sometimes the problem. So listen, I'll be contacting you. Just put it on your schedule, because I feel like because this is so good. This right here is so good. And people do not want to acknowledge when you are the whole problem. And sometimes we are the whole problem. Listen, as a wife, I had to learn that. I had to learn because, as a wife, it's so easy. Like my husband, da 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 da.
Right.
And listen, I had to have my own come to Jesus moments and say, okay, maybe you the problem. Maybe you need to stop talking to him like that.
Oh,
Maybe you need to stop nagging. Maybe you the one with the attitude and he's feeding off of your energy, right? Like that's real stuff right there. That's real stuff right there. And when I was able to recognize that, and not just recognize it, but when I was able to verbalize it to my husband, it really revolutionized our marriage in a lot of ways. One, because it showed my husband that I was willing to take accountability. And two, it gave him the freedom to be able to check me and to hold me accountable if I'm talking to him some kind of way or whatever the case is. Because wives, I'm talking to a wife out there. If you are listening, sometimes we're the problem, boo. I know. Don't throw tomatoes at me. I know. Don't
you can throw them at me. I got time. Don't throw them at Chanel. I got time for
Listen, don't cuss me out, sis. But sometimes, wives, we are the problem, and we need to get it together. But that's a whole that is a whole other. Just know we're gonna have to come back for this conversation because that's so good. So self-care. This is what we're talking about. Even though this is all related, what is your definition of self-care?
So the current working definition, because it is an evolution as I recognize more and more things for myself. But at this point in time, self-care to me looks like a bunch of different subsets and being able to recognize what type of energy and what type of vibe needs to go with it. So self-care is holistic. So how am I maintaining my literal physical appearance and functionality? How am I pouring into myself intellectually? How am I feeding myself spiritually? And then taking and bringing these various different aspects into how I want to show up as me to be available to add the last component of, and then who do I have around me? And who am I trying to reach out to and connect with that we're able to mutually reciprocate care for each other?
Yeah.
And how we're caring for ourselves. So me showing up and taking care of me. Like before we jumped on here, like I may not look flawless today, but in that same moment, I was like, give me 1 minute because I need to do just like so I can feel better about me. So I can talk to you and be able to share the information because I took a quick moment to just touch up on the physical appearance for time-wise, what was available.
Yeah.
You giving me that grace allowed me to embrace another component that I feel like is really important for me right now, that I definitely am sharing with the world, is to take a moment to not be so masculine in how I'm getting stuff done, that I embrace my femininity of, I don't want to look like I just came from outside on the field working.
Right.
Like I don't need to look that way. I don't have to. I can choose to, but it's kinder, softer, and gentler to me to care for myself by giving the best version of me that I have available in that moment.
Yeah.
So self-care, what do I have available for today? What's today's 100% and what's getting 20 to 80% of it, so that I don't play myself like I could do a bunch of things. We were talking before we jumped on. I was telling you how many people I saw, and I was like, you know what? This is why I'm only going to do whatever the heck I want to do this weekend. This is why I'm totally only doing stuff for my birthday.
Because baby, listen.
I gave to the world. I did my job, and I did more than what I had. I've got to go. That's time away, isolation.
Yeah.
You can't. This is why I'm free by 5 p.m. every day. Not every day. I take that back. Fridays, I'm free by 5 because I need to start the process of decompressing. I need to let the clients that I've seen go. I need to clear them out, check on myself. Like, what am I okay?
Yeah.
Are my feelings hurt? Do I feel good? Do I need some more sleep? Do I need some water? Like
that.
What do I need so I can put that into my schedule?
I love
Who do I
it.
need to ask for help from so they can support me? Do I need to go, stand in my daughter and look up at her and let her know I need you to go do this and clean this part of the house? Because mentally, if I go do it, I'm probably going to toss the whole house away. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to be helpful. So
Mm-hmm.
self-care looks like, how do I say yes to me and no to the things that aren't just a heck yes? If I'm not like, oh, I totally want to do it, getting comfortable with saying no and even saying no to stuff I really, 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 really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I said it's important for me to be in a space financially that's supportive, then I can't, because that doesn't match what I said I wanted to do. So I have to.
Girl, all right, y'all. I don't know if y'all are listening, but she in here preaching. She preached like 8 sermons already. Like, I don't know if y'all are listening, but everything that you're saying, I love. You're talking about this holistic and in the moment processing approach to self-care. What do I need in a moment? I love when you said figuring out what is 100% for the day. Like, what do I need to be for my 100% for today, right? And recognizing that some days it's gonna be seeing 8 to 10 clients or whatever the case is, right? And okay, I just got to do that, right? And so yes, we can look at it and say, oh my God, that's a lot, it's tiring. And we can also look at it and say, well, this is a part of my financial self-care that I'm taking care of, because I'm financially securing what I need to do now. But what I hear you saying on the back end of that is, but I also make sure that I'm doing the check-ins with myself. I'm figuring out what I need and what I do not need. I'm figuring out what support I need, right? I heard you say, figuring out who do I need to reach out to for support and being willing to ask them. What a concept that we would be willing to ask for help or reach out if we need support just to say, I can't do it, right? These things are so important. And so it's not just this holistic approach, but it's also in this moment approach. For today, what do I need? For today, what can I provide for the world? And for today, what do I need to say no to? And being okay with that and allowing that to guide every single day. That is so powerful when we talk about this idea of being selfish, right? This idea of self-care. I love to tell my clients all the time, the greatest change is going to come when you're able to do the in the moment processing. When I can sit down, when a thought comes, and in the moment, okay, why am I thinking this? Am I triggered? Whatever, whatever, whatever. When you get to a point where you're able to do that in a moment, because when I'm able to do the in the moment processing, what happens on the back end, it also gives me the provision and the place to change my behavior. So whatever my response may have been, whatever my behavior may have been, if we really sat down and process in a moment, what do we need or what's going on the inside of us in a moment, 9 times out of 10, you like, I can't go say that to my husband because that's just dumb. Like, why would I say that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Or
And it
maybe
causes
even
you.
quick, if someone said that to me, am I going to be okay with that? Because if I'm not,
girl. And so just that quick in the moment process. And I love that. And so that is a lesson for everyone listening, getting to a point where you can stop in the moment and sit in, why I'm anxious. Why am I anxious? I'm depressed. Why am I depressed? And not just that, right? Even when I'm happy, like I'm feeling really good. Like today's a good day.
This?
Exactly. It's a good day. Exactly. Like, how do I, is it like, for me, it's just something about the sun shining, like, you know, and I feel like, oh, when the sun shines, I realize when the sun is out, oh, Chanel is in her element. Like, I just love a sunshiny day, even if it's cold outside. If the sun is out, it's just wonderful. So not just in the negative things, but also in the positive things. And so I love that. And so Dr. Z, we ain't talked nothing about your chapter yet, okay? And we've been
I don't even know what's in there. Look, I wrote it and I was done. I was like,
I know, right? But we gotta tell the people a little bit. That's why we're here. Right. So tell us the name of your chapter and tell us a little bit about the nuggets in your chapter. Don't give it all away because they got to get the book in order to get it. But give us a little bit.
All right. So I'm actually going to share that the way that is set up is part of a framework that I definitely share about. I'm like, when you Google me, I forgot to mention I'm already a 2-time international best-selling author. So we just about
come on
with it.
here.
3 times.
We're about to do this, ma'am. Yes, we are.
So the chapter is called Gotta Be Selfish. Because, and again, these are just the framework. So you can go Google the rest, but you'll have to get the specifics in the book. I like to use a process of looking at how you're going to go about changing and shifting and doing life called Set It Off. It's an acronym. And yes, the movie totally inspired it. Yes, it did. It sure did.
I'm okay with that.
But the part in this book, the excerpts that I'm sharing, is the set component, which is surviving, existing, and thriving. And then looking at different friend types, because everyone's like, hey, friend, I'm here for it. It starts off, hey, friend, because I'm talking to you as a friend. And as a friend, we move through different states of functioning, and each of those different friend types is brought up within the chapter. So while you could Google it, I could tell you all of them. Just know the end part is to, I don't want to say be as close to a version of the way that God sees you is the ideal version of how you're supposed to show up. So to be selfish and start giving yourself permission to do that. That is taking on the essence of your goddess friend type of being a selfish goddess. People like, and again, we're not going to support nothing that's not supportive to, giving credit where it's appropriately due. But if you look in history books, people treat people with levels of royalty and even degrees and statuses within things. They treat them better. So why wouldn't you want to put yourself in that same place and treat you better?
That's good.
Why wouldn't you want to give to you more and get real comfortable with no and not being attached to it, not causing other people harm in the interim, but no, it's going to be a no for me, dog. Like, can you? No. Would you like to? No. How about absolutely not?
Go on here.
The love, praising the Lord. No, and no, and no.
I
and
love
no,
it.
and no.
That part, right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love when you just said, when you look throughout history, people who have a certain level of stature or certain level of status or whatever, they're treated differently. And so why would you not want to put yourself in a position to be literally the best version of yourself, like this ideal self that you would absolutely want to be? And the thing about it is, I know, people say, we say all the time, life is life and all of that stuff. And trust me, it is, because life is life and over here too. We're not going to even sit here and act like it's not. Life is life and over in Chanel's world too. And at the same time, I'm not going to allow life to rule me. I'm not going to allow life to dictate what I can and cannot do. So even while life is life, and I'm still going to show up as the boss business owner. Even as life is life, and I'm still going to make sure I do everything that I have to do to be able to enjoy life. Even if life is life, and I'm still going to play in this conference, and I'm still going to drop this book and all the other things, and I'm still going to do this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to show up as the best ideal version of me no matter what, and not allowing circumstances to cause me to dim my light. Because we allow circumstances to dim our light. So I love when you say that. If we know that certain people, who doesn't like to be treated like royalty? Let's just be real. Who doesn't want the red carpet rolled out for them?
Well, let's look at that, because I don't know if I spoke on it in the chapter, but I know that it's a thing. If you've got a mindset still that those people in those positions are not great people, or they don't treat other people right or fair, you actually wouldn't want to be treated that way. Hence, you definitely wouldn't treat yourself that way. So if that's something that you're holding on to, please understand all the things that we've been talking about. It sounds effortless in this moment. All of them. I felt every moment of all of the stuff. Chanel is feeling every moment of all of the stuff. Life is life, and I feel it. I feel all of it.
Feel it.
And it still requires me, it still requires you to make a decision, to make a choice that you're going to choose to be a greater version of yourself, that you're going to choose to keep giving to yourself, that you're going to choose to reach out for help and stop doing it all by yourself, because none of us were meant to do that.
Come on. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is so good, y'all. You just talked about, I talk about oftentimes, it reminds me of like people's relationship with God, right?
Mhm.
God is Father. If I didn't have a good relationship with my earthly father, if my earthly father wasn't around, it's really hard for me to connect with God and see him as a father. Or if I do see him as a father, how do I see him as a father? And
Mm.
a lot of times, and then I also think about in terms of my pastor would talk about this all the time. She's a mother figure for many in the church, but that means a whole lot of things to a whole lot of people.
Mhm.
Because if I didn't have a good relationship with my mom and you pastor mama, you my spiritual mom, or whatever the case is,
Mm.
how is that going to play out in the relationship and how you treat me and what manifests through that, you know? And I think that
Yeah.
that is so important. And that's part of when you talk about what harm we are doing to the world and making sure that we're showing up as the best version of ourselves, not just so we can be royalty, but so that we're not doing harm to the world, that we make
Or
sure
ourselves.
with
Like,
or
selfishly, we're not
ourselves.
hurting ourselves anymore,
Exactly.
because all of that, you can keep putting ugly and nasty out there if you want to, but then don't be surprised when it keeps reciprocating and coming right
Come
back to
on.
you. Like, I'm
When
not
it
sure what
turns
you were
right back
expecting
around.
to happen, but if you
Come
act
on.
nasty, you about to receive nasty. People are saying, like, evil people never they are experiencing stuff you're never gonna be privy to because it's not your business anyways. If you're minding your own business
Listen,
and you're being
listen.
selfish, you'd
Exactly.
be worried about the business of you and how you can take care of you more. You'd be worried about creating the image and version of you that when other people come into your space and presence, they get they feel better. They're like, I don't even know what happened, but she showed up and I just feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because then other people get to experience the overflow of the goodness that's in the inside of you, the overflow of the joy that is exuding through you. I love, oh my goodness, this is so good. This conversation is so good. Dr. Z, we don't have all day, but this conversation is so good. Could talk about these things all day. What is one thing, just one tip, if you could pull one nugget out of your chapter, what is the one tip that you would want to leave with? I'm not going to just say the ladies, because even though we know the book is called Girl Be Selfish, listen, the
Yeah,
gentlemen, you may get something out of it too. What is one tip that you would want to leave with the audience?
I would say, let's see. I would say the best thing you could do is shifting your ideal about the word selfish. So you have the capacity to start to use anything in anybody's chapter as a benefit.
Mm,
But if you're still holding the ideal that the word selfish has some negative connotations to it, you're not going to get very much out of any of it.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
can choose to allow the word selfish to mean self and just
Mhm,
adding more ish to the self instead of it
mhm,
being a negative of maybe perceiving it as taking it away from other folks.
yeah,
Shifting your mindset is going to put you in a position to notice where you're at, what you're doing, and where you're going towards. So those no's can be real intentional, and your yeses are going to be so solid that you can't believe you didn't say it sooner.
I love it. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. That's what the Bible tells us. Let your yes be your yes and let your no be your no. I love it. Listen, y'all, I hope that y'all got so much out of today's conversation. I'm definitely going to have Dr. Z back on the podcast. She don't know it yet, but she's about to find out. So much good conversation, so many things that we could talk about. And I hope that as you're listening, you're not just listening to be entertained, but you're listening to be educated. You're listening to be informed, and that you're listening to see yourself, right? And to figure out, okay, how can I take this conversation and how can I allow it to transform my life? So as Dr. Z has taught us today, so that we don't do any harm to the world and we don't do any harm to ourselves. I love it. I love it. I love it. Dr. Z, how can the people get in touch with you?
Well, I believe you all can check me out at my website, which is greaterself.org. If you want a / to hello, then you can totally see what's going on in my world, in-person events and/or different things that I'm offering online. Otherwise, on social media, you can find me at greaterself_. drdr.z.
Thank you so much. Listen, her information will definitely be in the show notes. So if any of you want to reach out, and as I said, Dr. Z is one of our esteemed self-ish authors. So listen to me. Listen to me today. If you have not gotten the book, I need you to go over to her website. I need you to go over to Amazon, and I need you to go get the book now. I'm telling you, this book is going to be a movement. It's going to be a game changer. We're working on a book tour so that we can try to bring this message of the Girl Be Self-ish movement to different cities. I'm going to say nationally right now, but listen, Lord, from my mouth to God's ears, if you want us to go international, we're ready to go international with the movement too. I am so good with it. Listen, y'all, this book is going to be a tool in your arsenal towards wellness. If you are someone and you're just trying to figure out how can self-care play out in my life, the wonderful thing about it is that self-care looks different for so many different people, right? And that was the intention of having these different authors come together, tell their story, tell how they've embodied self-care and what they are doing along the journey, because it's not a one and done. It is a journey indeed. So make sure you go pick up your copy of Girl Be Self-ish, learning how to embrace your rhythm of self-care. It is on Amazon. You can find it on Dr. Z's website. Dr. Z, give them the website one more time.
It is greaterself.org.
greaterself.org if you want to grab a copy from her. But listen, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today and helping get this message out there. I know somebody is going to be blessed by listening to the words that you have offered. And I want to thank everybody who are listening. I hope that you got something out of today, that it is a blessing to you. Leave us the comments. Let us know, what nugget you pulled from today. Let us know what part of this conversation has blessed you. Make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and join us next time, because we have more authors coming with some more amazing stories. So make sure that you stay tuned to the Girl Be Self-ish podcast. And as I always say, be sure to stay selfish. Love you, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.